Salve, my friends, and welcome back to S.P.Q.R. Productions. I decided that this week's episode would be holiday themed, so I hope you all enjoy this slightly different yet interesting video. Today, we are going to be learning about a few things. First, we're going to talk about the Roman feast of Saturnalia. Then, we're going to discuss the birthday of Sol Invictus. And finally, we're going to learn how these two events influenced many of the modern-day Christmas traditions that are celebrated around the world. So, let's get right into it, but before we do, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Saturnalia was an ancient Roman festival and holiday in honor of the god Saturn, held on the 17th of December of the Julian calendar and later expanded with festivities through the 23rd of December. The holiday was celebrated with a sacrifice at the Temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum, and a public banquet, followed by private gift-giving, continual partying, and a carnival atmosphere that overturned Roman social norms. Gambling was permitted, and masters provided table service for their slaves, as it was seen as a time of liberty for both slaves and freedmen alike. A common custom was the election of a king of the Saturnalia, who gave orders to people, which were followed and presided over the merrymaking. The gifts exchanged were usually gag gifts or small figurines made of wax or pottery known as, I apologize for my poor pronunciation, sigillaria. The Pope Catullus called it the best of days. Another tradition of the Saturnalia was the lighting of candles in the streets of the city of Rome. Now that we have a little background on the origins and traditions of Saturnalia, let's talk about Sol Invictus and how his birthday has caused one of what I believe to be the greatest misconceptions in human history. Sol Invictus, sometimes simply known as Helios, was long considered to be the official sun god of the later Roman Empire. His place as the patron god of emperors Aurelian and Elagabalus, as well as his popularity in the late Roman Empire, are just some of the things that demonstrate how significant his role was, not just to Roman religious life, but also to the politics of the period as well. Interestingly, Sol, who is said to have been born on December 25th, shares the same birthday, as many of you know, as Christ. While initially this may just seem like a coincidence, one will find that this is actually not the case. In fact, scholars believe that Christ was actually born at some point in the fall of 6-4 BC. The choice to celebrate his birthday on the same day that Sol was born, scholars believe, was intended to both promote the relatively new Christianity and limit the influence of the long-celebrated Saturnalia. This historical tidbit, which surprisingly isn't too well known, is, in my opinion, one of the most fascinating things that I have picked up during my studies. So, how do both of these things tie into modern-day Christmas traditions? You may have noticed that two major parts of the Saturnalia holiday are the giving and receiving of gifts and the lighting of candles, which, if you haven't noticed, are very similar to the traditions of giving gifts at Christmas and the lighting up of both one's home and one's neighborhood through Christmas lights. In addition to this, there's the obvious connection of Sol Invictus' birthday and how that influenced the day on which we celebrate the holiday. While I want to keep today's video short, if you are interested in learning more about this topic, I highly recommend doing so on your own, as there are many more interesting connections between the ancient and modern version of these winter holidays. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you again very, very soon.